Hi, welcome back to Happy Apple Core Homestead, and today I have tons of used wine bottles. And the question that I'm going to answer for you today is, can you use old wine bottles for new wine? And the answer is yes. I have some amazing friends and neighbors who have donated these empty wine bottles to me. Now, the question you might be asking yourself is, isn't it like way faster to just buy new wine bottles? Yes, it is. This is a time-consuming process to get the labels removed, but it's also less in the landfills. And if you think that all of our glass is being properly recycled, you would be wrong. When choosing an empty used wine bottle for new wine, there are a couple things that you want to look for. Number one, did it have a screw top or did it have a cork in it? If you're planning on putting corks in your bottles for whatever wine you're making, you want to have the type of opening that is designed for a cork. Now you can put a cork into an opening that has a screw top type of an opening, but the likelihood that you're going to break your bottle is much, much higher because those lips are thinner. So all of these here in front of us all had corks in them originally. Now I'm going to be using brand new corks when I fill these with my new wine. That said, it is time to remove the labels, and I'm going to show you how I do it because a lot of people ask that question. Like, it's hard to get those labels off. They're not really designed to come off. But I do have a method that works really well, and I'm going to show you how to do that. The first thing we're going to do is remove the foil from the tops of the bottles. So grab your knife, slice down the center, and it comes right off. Because we're trying to put as little back into the landfills as possible, I'm going to be keeping these foil rims? What are they? Labels? Anyway, I'm keeping them, and they're going to go into this handy dandy plastic bag, and they'll be going to a friend of mine who will melt them down and use them in his art. The only thing we won't be keeping, of course, as you know, are the corks and the residue of the labels. I'm going to go ahead and remove all of these from the tops, and then I will show you the next step. It only took a few minutes to get all of those tops off, and now my bag is full. So shout out to my friend Eric. Hi! I got a bag of metal for you. Now we need to talk about how do we get these labels off and how do we get these bottles clean enough to actually put new wine in. As you can imagine, excuse me, I have a frog in my throat. As you can imagine, these bottles have, sticky wine residue inside. So the first thing we're going to do is add a little bit of regular hand washing dish soap to each bottle, just a couple drops in each one. Now that we have soap inside of each of these bottles, we have to move these somewhere big enough to cover them up with water. If you just have a few, you can do them in your sink. I think I have a picture I'll show you, I'll insert here for you. The last time I just had a few bottles. But because I have so many here, we're gonna go to the bathtub. It's a spare bathtub, so don't worry, I'm not gonna be showering with the wine bottles. And we're gonna soak the insides while we're soaking the outsides. We're gonna let them soak for 24 hours, maybe longer if I get busy, but at least 24 hours to really soften the glue that's underneath these labels. The wine bottles at the same time are going to be filled with soapy water, which will start to get the sticky wine residue loosened up. We will be washing them again after we remove the labels, and also before any new wine goes in, they will be sanitized both on the inside and the outside. At this point, before we sanitize them, they'll be completely clean, but they won't be clean enough for new wine. So you want to make sure that before you put your new wine in bottles, whether they be, brandy from the store or they're, these old used ones, you want to sanitize your bottles. You can use Star San, you can use Easy Clean. I like Easy Clean myself. It doesn't really matter. So I'll put a link down below so you can see where I pick up my Easy Clean. Well, guys, let's go to the bathtub. All right, we have wine bottles in the bathtub. They are full of soapy hot water, and the bathtub is also full of soapy hot water. And I did just use the dishwashing soap for hand washing dishes. So once your bottles are full and your tub is full, what you're gonna wanna do is knock over all of your bottles. Don't break them, just gently knock them over, because you want water to be all the way up to the top of the bottles, and my bottles are taller than my bathtub, so they're gonna take a nap in the water. Okay, almost everybody's underwater, but you know, there's a lot of bottles and it's a tiny tub. This is the best I can do. They're gonna sit here and chill out for probably 24 hours, maybe 48 hours, and then I'll drain it and I'll come back and talk to you about the easiest way to get those soaked labels off. All right, the bottles have been soaking for a couple days, and I'm just gonna show you how easy it is to get the labels off at this point. So hopefully you can see this. They just peel right off. So that's it. So, now as you can see, there is still, and it's so fragile, like this is the glue. It's so fragile it'll come off with my fingernail. But I like to use one of these glass scrapers, glass cleaning scrapers, and it just, keep your thumb out of the way, and it just comes right off, just like that. Now this is probably the most time-consuming part of the whole project, is getting the glue off the glass. But if you want to save money and you want less things in the landfill, then this is the way to do it. So I am just gonna hang out in here and get these labels off, and when I'm all done, we'll go to the last step. All the labels are off the bottles. As you know, they've been also soaking from the inside with soap. The next step is really going to just be checking the bottles to see if there's any little bit of glue residue still left from underneath the label. These jars or bottles are still wet right now, but once they dry, it will be super obvious, and in some you can actually see them. And I'm going to show this to you, but I don't know if you can see the difference of the kind of the sheen or whatever. It's like a little bit matte right here. And that indicates to us that we need to do one extra step with these bottles before they're ready to use. In front of me here, I have 3 different methods of getting the glue off of the bottles. You can use alcohol, you can use nail polish remover, or you can use like a Goo Gone or Goof Off. Either one works. Some people say you can use like a WD-40, and this is just what I happen to have in my cabinet. And so I'll go through these bottles and I'll just take my soft cloth and use a small amount of one of these and just get the rest of that glue residue off, because I'm not going to be putting big labels on my wine bottles after I fill them with the wine that I'm making. I use quite small labels. If you were going to use big giant labels that would cover this up, like, you can skip this step. You are probably wondering what this contraption is. Many of you probably have seen it before, but for those of you who are unsure what it is, this is a bottle drying tree. It is so helpful because you just stick it on here upside down. Whoops, this still has soapy water in it. Anyway, you stick them on upside down like so, and they just drip out the water. So it makes them, they air dry faster. I will put a link in the description box, so if you want to buy one, you can. Once you get all of the labels and the stickiness off, you are going to want to still wash the insides again, right? Because you might be here for a while. If you have as many bottles as I do, like this is going to take me a long time to get. Not all of the bottles have the extra sticky residue, but it's still going to take me a while. Once all of the sticky is off of your bottles, you're going to want to rinse the outside again with hot soapy water, and also the inside as well. And at that point, if you're ready to bottle your wine, you can go ahead and do a sanitizing rinse as well. You'll want to put them on your tree after the sanitizing rinse and let them air dry before you put your wine in. A lot of them are no rinse, but either way, you want to let those, chemicals kind of flow down out of the bottle so that they're not in your wine. For me, because I don't have any wine ready to bottle right now, I'm just getting my bottles ready. These are going to go back into wine boxes, and I'm going to wash them again and then sanitize them. So I'll do that the same day, all at the same time. So I'll put a little soap in, shake it up, wash it out, put the sanitizer in, and then I will put them on the bottle tree for bottling the following day. And then that's it for me. If you were to wash these right now and you want them to stay sanitary, even before you're gonna do your sanitizing rinse, I recommend covering them up with something, I don't know, saran wrap or whatever. But a lot of these ideas that do work, it's just an added step, and it's just more stuff going into the landfill. You can skip the chemicals. So if you're like, hey, I'm doing this because I don't want more chemicals out there, I don't want to be using these types of things, you can take a scrubby, like one of those little green scrubbies. See if I have one. Okay, this super cheap green scrubby, I cut it into like smaller sections, and I just use dish soap. That's actually how I get the little residual glue off. I just thought you might want to see some other, suggestions. I use these 3 things for other things, not usually for my bottles, but they will work. I use a green scrubby with some just hand washing dish soap, and it just comes right off. Super easy. I mean, that's it, guys. Like, it's easier than you think to get the labels off of bottles. If you're passionate about not having things go into the landfill, this might be an option for you. If you don't have any kind of time for this type of a project, you can get brand new bottles from Uline in bulk. They're amazing, they work great. I have gone that route myself as well, but this is really kind of where my heart is. I have friends and neighbors who like to, have a glass of wine once in a while, and so these are like, please don't think that just one person gave me all of these bottles. Like, I don't have an alcoholic friend, you guys. These have been donated from like kind of my whole community. Buy Nothing is a great site to find things for free. You can find Buy Nothing groups on Facebook, and I'm not getting paid for this announcement, but I just love the group. So Buy Nothing on Facebook, you can request things like wine bottles or whatever, and people were just gonna throw these into their recycling bin anyways, and so they were free to me. It does take a little bit of elbow grease and a little bit of time, but I didn't have to buy any bottles. Like, this is a ton of bottles. Okay, I'm done rambling. It was nice to talk to you guys today, and I will be back with another video. Eventually, I am going to have a video for you on how to actually make wine, and I hope you really enjoy it, but it does take some time for wine to ferment and kind of just do its thing. So the process is not just a one and done like this video, for example. It's going to take a few months for me to film it and get that ready for you, but please subscribe to my channel and you will be seeing that video coming up soon. All right, thanks guys for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye.